Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Audrey and I just got into PA school. It has been a really long year. It's April, applications open in April, so that's when everything starts, and finally in PA school. This past year has been exhausting. It's been long. There's been a lot of waiting. It really tests your patience. This past year has been so exhausting and I'm so glad that it's over with. Can't begin to explain how hard this year has been, but it's all over and I've learned so much, and I feel like I have to let y'all know how it went and what I learned, and if I had to do this over again, I wish I knew this. This is going to be 5 things I wish I knew before applying, and especially about like this waiting period and just this year of how it goes. First of all, apply to as many schools as you financially can. I know it's a lot of money. So whatever you can do now, just do it. Widen up your options. I originally applied to 8 schools, and then in July, I kind of had a freak out panic moment and I added 4 more before the application cycle ended. So I did a range of, top tier reach schools, middle tier, and smaller private schools, just to get a range. I stayed in state. I went all over the country, just to kind of cast a wide net. And I think that was one of the reasons why I got 5 interviews. Try your hardest to do as many as you can. I know it's hard. I know there's a lot of money involved in applying, but if it saves you a whole nother year of applying again, why not? I'm definitely glad I did that. And I knew, at the end of all of this, that was one of the reasons why I am where I am today, because the one school I got in was one of those 4 schools that I ended at the end. So it was not one of the original 8. Number 2, this one bit me in the butt. Get your apps in as early as possible. People were telling me from the beginning, get it done as soon as possible, get it done as soon as possible. But you don't really understand why. You just know that that's something you should do, because I knew going in, this was my first time applying, that I had the apps open and I was putting everything in, everything on my part was done within a week. It opened April 20 something and by May it was done, but I didn't get my letters of recommendation in soon. One of my recommendations was from someone that I knew had a tendency of being late. She was a nurse practitioner that I worked with. And so that was kind of on me, of knowing who I was asking for a really important document in a timely manner. So it wasn't until July that I actually got that letter of recommendation. I could actually get my CASPA submitted. And I didn't really know why it was important, but as the application cycle went on, I saw a lot of people getting interviews early, in September, and I just was sitting around waiting to hear anything. And they take a bunch of schools go on a rolling admission. So whoever gets their app in early or first, they will look at your application, say yes or no, and they'll go on to the next person. Well, if you're, there's only so many interview spots. And so if you're way down at the bottom, one of the last people to put your application in, then you're one of the last people to say yes or no for an interview. And so I ended up sitting and waiting around a lot. I had 1 interview in September, 1 interview in October, 2 in November, and 1 in February. And that was not even half the schools. So it was a lot of waiting around, of knowing, and I'm sure I didn't get into some schools because they were full already. And so that was One of the things that I wish I knew before going in and that I learned was really the pitfall of my application cycle. Then number 3 is make sure that you have more than one interview outfit. So like I said, I had 5 interviews that spanned months. So I wore the same interview outfit for my September interview as my February interview, and it didn't quite fit correctly. You know, the holidays happen, winter, I also work out and have a lot of muscle reshaping, so it didn't fit perfectly and it was uncomfortable. And during the interview process, that's what you're wearing is not what you want to be worried about. For me, when I first started interviewing, I had to go out and get that outfit. And, you know, it's an expenditure. You have to pay money for it. But I wish I either tried it on periodically or had a second outfit. So just keep that in mind. I know for guys, it kind of doesn't change that much. But that was something that I wish I had done differently. 4, I learned that forums are your worst enemy and your best friend. So I don't know how I found out about it, but I went to physicianassistantforum.com and they have forums started for every single school, and people put on like, hey, I put my app in at this time and I now have an interview for this date and these are my stats, or you kind of get a feel of what everyone else is experiencing out in the world. So for one, you could compare yourself. You're like, okay, well, I got my CASPA done in July and they got theirs done in May and they now have an interview. Or, you know, sometimes you can gauge on how many interviews a school is going to have, and, you know, I haven't heard back from the school and they're saying that this is their last interview, so I can assume that I'm not going to get an interview at this school. So that was really great, kind of gauging and knowing where you were at in the process compared to other people. But on the flip side, you're comparing yourself to other people constantly, and so you're like, people will say, oh, I got in, and you're like, well, why not me? And so it's months and months of saying, why not me? So take those with a grain of salt. It's information, you know, you don't feel like you're alone, but there's a tendency to compare yourself. And then last but not least, number 5, patience is a virtue. I have spent every single day for months checking my email multiple times a day. And in September, you're like, this is a fantastic, like, brand new process, and you're excited for it, and you're nervous, and you have all these emotions. And then I got waitlisted at 4 schools right off the bat. So it was great because I didn't get any rejections after an interview. So that kind of kept me going a bit. But like going into December, not having anything, January, not having or hearing anything, February, getting an interview, but still not hearing from other schools. And actually, I still haven't heard from those schools, which proves you only have to get into one for it to matter. But I didn't realize how much patience, faith, and hope went into this process. And it's killer. It's a long time. It tests everything you know about why you're doing this, or if you should even be doing this. And I'm really happy that I don't have to do this again. I was really nervous about having to do this whole process over again, but anybody that chooses to do this process again, I give them all the props in the world. But overall, you just have to get into one, and that's all that matters. And I'm so excited, and I feel like I've learned so much, and there's so much that I want to let y'all know about how this process works and how to navigate through it. and then take y'all through a journey of starting PA school in a few months. And so that's going to be super exciting. And I hope y'all stick around for that. Thanks.